I'm Diane Bruce, and I live in 118 Pepe Road.
And I'm Perrine Busby, and I live here at number 1 Hillside Lane, 24th of August
2023.
So why did you come to Tairua?
Well, we came to Tairua because the year before we came, my son broke his leg at Christmas, and we were stuck at home. I was stuck at home with 3 children, and we couldn't go to the beach, we couldn't go to the bars, we couldn't go to the movies. I couldn't take them anywhere because of his leg. And when the children went back to school, we got in the car and drove to Tairua and drove up to the Coromandel from Tairua, stopping at every campground and every motel to see if we could get a booking for the following year. And nobody had any spaces left. So when we got to Tairua, we met Joe down at Mrs. Beach's campground opposite the wharf, and he gave us a permanent booking for the following year.
Mm-hmm. And it was very basic, but we decided it would do.
Yeah. Yes.
So what year was the year that you came first?
1978.
1978.
Yeah, my youngest daughter was just 2.5 years old.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was,
And we came with in 2 cars with a trailer and no seatbelts for the children, and all our gear and the children all in the car together, and very, very rough roads and very dusty, and someone always got sick just before we got there. Usually my youngest son.
So what cars were you driving? Do you remember?
Mine is station wagon. Hillman had the station wagon.
Hillman Hunter.
I had a Falcon station wagon.
Nice.
So it was a bit roomier. But when you've got 7 children with you, you need a lot of stuff
to go camping.
Yeah, you do. You do.
So and the fridge.
And I had the bar fridge from home we bought. And as the kids grew, the toys got bigger. The surfboards, got longer, and I needed that trailer. We couldn't have come down without it, could we?
No, fishing rods and...
Yeah, you couldn't have come down without it. It was, So
how long was your first stay?
3 weeks.
Yeah.
We always stayed 3 weeks.
And this is at which campground, and where is that located now?
It's where the Tairua aged care is now.
Right.
It was on 2 levels because where the aged care is on the main road, and the area down below that the fishing club had. That was all Mary Beach's.
So how long was that a campground for?
Years. I don't know.
It had been...
Until 1990 it was a campground.
Yeah.
One of about 6, was it, in Tairua when we first came?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's only one left now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And we stayed up the top the first year, and very basic
on
facilities.
On the main road, yeah.
Yeah, but the kids enjoyed it. We had fun.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Where did you come from?
Auckland. We both came from Auckland.
Right.
Both our husbands worked at the airport, so they couldn't get holidays at Christmas. They couldn't come with us.
Yeah.
The Kopu-Hikawai road?
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, the road was there. It was, but mostly gravel, and that's what made it long. That's why it took so long, because it was only 2 lanes, but no passing lanes. And you had all these guys with their boats and caravans with no spare tyres for them, and they always, you'd always have to stop and wait while somebody changed a tyre or something. But it was pretty rough road. Yeah. Really rough, yeah.
Any idea how long it took you to get from Auckland to Tairua?
It would have been 3 hours probably.
Oh no, I think nearer 4, I think.
Nearly 4.
Yeah, it was a long one. Yeah.
And we had a couple of, in the 12 years that we camped down there, we had a couple of very wet summers, and a couple of times we ended up having to go back on the 309 road. It was shocking, absolutely shocking.
It was because by then I'd got rid of the station wagon and I had a small Daihatsu because the children had grown up and they weren't coming away with us all the time.
Okay. So in 1979, what facilities were in town? Do you remember?
Yeah.
There was Tiger Woods,
Waiga
Toots.
Waiga Toots, did you know?
No.
Waiga Toots was a mini golf on the main road.
Oh, okay.
And it was great. It was great. Everybody used it at Christmas, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a fish and chip shop just by us.
Yeah. The Waiga Toots was just above the dairy, you know, downtown where the dairy is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was in the land, just above that.
And nothing on that side other than
No,
Toots.
yeah, no shops there at all. Their playground, wasn't it?
Yeah, the estuary.
All the inner harbour there and that. It's just, they could play cricket, they could play anything. They could fly kites. That is so flat, and well, it was then. They spent most of the time jumping off the wharf or swimming down there, didn't they?
But you could walk out and you could just put your hands in and scoop up shellfish. And there was no blossom that you get now, so you can't eat them.
Yeah.
And we take home buckets of shellfish and cook them.
Yeah.
So the shellfish were
Plentiful.
Very plentiful.
cockles, were they?
And
Puppies.
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 Puppies. And
bigger ones out on the
Yeah.
ocean.
Ocean Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the kids would always catch something off the wharf. Just little fish, but they'd always get
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So they
And-
spent
and
quite a
in
bit
the-
of time fishing.
They did. The boys did. The
Yeah.
boys did. The girls had dolls.
And shells.
Well, if they were tired out there. We used to get lobsters,
Crayfish.
crayfish, for $2 each from the guys would come from somewhere around the country in their cars, and there'd be about 4 in a car just to go scuba, and they'd catch a sack full of crayfish. So at night in the campground they'd come around, and all they wanted was enough money to fill their tanks for the next day, so they're just keen scuba guys, you know. So we had some nice crayfish.
And we had crayfish races.
Yeah.
We had crab races. There were a lot of crabs.
Yeah, you at tea time, if you had some crayfish, you boiled we boiled this big pot up, but we had races with them, and the kids would try and tickle them or do things to make them. And the poor one, the one that won the race, was first in the pot.
Never supposed to be fast, is it?
No, but it was fun and it entertained all the campground.
And we played canasta at night, and the children were outside and they played games like Kingasini, Bull Rush and Spotlight, right until it got really dark, until
Yeah.
they had to go inside, and as soon as they were inside they were asleep. Well, there were some, the first year we were all inside, and the second year, but after that we had a tent, so a lot of the children
For
were
the
in
boys,
tents.
yeah.
Yeah.
My brother gave us a big tent that he wasn't using. So we put the boys out there and we had the cabin. So there was only one cabin.
And it was tiny, and it was
It
basic.
was. I've got a photo here. I could. Someone? No, what it is. It's not wonderful of the cabin, but you can only see half of it. Photos in those days.
No.
You didn't have a camera attached to your arm
No.
or anything.
And they were so expensive too.
Yeah, yeah.
So what other activities did you get up to?
Well, by the third year there was Shane, there was Faye and Brian Matthew and Sally and Arch. And Sally and Arch eventually took over the dairy.
Foursquare.
Yeah, the little
Foursquare.
Foursquare.
At the corner of, down by the bakery as you come into town.
Yeah.
Because there used to be 3 shops there. There was the grocer shop on the corner, the bakery was there, and there was a fish and chip shop. And that fish and chip shop did a roaring trade.
So we used to go over to the caravan and we'd all play Yahtzee.
That's right.
And
Because everyone it was only a small camp, and we all knew each other because we all went back every year. And all our children knew each other.
Yeah, and all the children were out there playing Spotlight or Tingasini or Bullrush.
You never lost one. That no one ever wandered off because they all wanted to be together.
And we had the pub there in those days, and it had a lovely beer garden.
Yep.
So when the kids got older, we used to leave the older ones in charge, and we'd go into the beer garden.
Oh, they went to the movies. Yes.
Yeah.
We had a movie theatre in those days at the hardware upstairs in the hardware shop.
And one year, all these guys came in and they were a bikie gang.
A bikie gang, the mongrel mob, and all their bikes they parked at the bottom of the beer garden. And when we walked in, it was quite packed, wasn't it? Yeah. But we ordered a meal at the bar. And then we were sort of standing talking with some friends, and then our meal came and there was nowhere to sit. And we walked outside and looked around the beer garden, and all of a sudden a voice said, "Come down here, ladies, here's 2 seats." And it was the mob. So we went and sat with them. And it was lovely, wasn't it? They were perfect gentlemen. One of them stood at the end of they had these big barbecue tables. And one of them said to the other guys, "Come on, you two, you go over there and you go over there and make room for the ladies." So,
and the meals were
beautiful.
Reasonable and really, really nice.
Yeah.
Just for the record, what was the name of the pub?
Sir George Grey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a shame now it's gone.
Yes.
When did that move?
In the late 90s anyway.
Somewhere around.
But it was around the Pepe for a while, and then it moved from there
Yeah.
to where it was.
Yeah.
And then it went from there to Te Awamutu.
Yeah, it's got a lovely reputation, that pub, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Amongst the locals.
It was good.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
No, it was really good, and that was really the only place you could go and have a drink. There wasn't anything like punters. No. And there were no coffee cafes.
No,
nothing.
That wasn't the culture then, was it?
No, it wasn't. We didn't miss it because it wasn't the culture, as you say. It was.
So in the daytime we'd go to the beach. We weren't going anywhere else. And at night time we went walking. Then the kids came home and played outside while we played cards. And they went to bed. But we did go to Thames. Always had a market day.
Oh yes, they always had a market day, and they closed off the street. Both ends of Pollen Street, isn't it, Main Street? Yeah. So the kids had their $5 each or whatever it was, and you didn't see them till late in the afternoon with their bits and pieces. It was good.
Yeah,
it was quite safe.
We'd go to Whitianga for one trip, and we went to Opito Bay one time.
Yes,
the
once was enough.
The road was shocking. All the kids were sick.
Yeah. Too far, too windy.
Yeah.
Too windy.
But the boys would get on their surfboards and actually paddle across to Tairua. They'd take a towel on their back and they'd go over there.
Yeah.
Go for a swim there and paddle back.
Jump off the wharf over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were they jumping off the bridge then, or jumping off the wharf?
The wharf at Pauanui.
The wharf at Pauanui, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they'd regularly swim across to Pauanui.
They paddle across.
On their surfboard.
Yeah.
Paddle.
Lie on it, and paddle across, One year we had 3 days heavy rain. You know what it's like here when we get heavy rain. And the camp down below where we were got flooded. And the council came round and they were worried about sewage coming up from those public toilets. Those toilets were there all the time we were there, weren't they? Anyway, the council closed the campground. They said it's too unhygienic. So, obviously for people in tents, they had to go because it was yucky. And the tents were gone in a day, I think, weren't they? And we had to pack ours up. But we just all went in the cabin.
Or in the car.
Or the cars. We had the 2 station wagons. Mattress in the back.
Yeah, the boys all slept in the car, the girls inside and us inside.
2 boys in one car, 2 boys in the other, and the girls came inside with us. And we just decided we were not going, so we didn't go. And the council never came back, and the rain went away, so we didn't worry.
So how many campgrounds were there in Tairua then?
There was at least 5.
Yes, there's Pepe, where Diane lives now.
Yeah.
That was one.
And there was one in Corey Wright, wasn't it? Corey Wright. That's where Bob and Barbara were.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's there.
One where it is now
and where
Manaia.
Raven used to go.
Yep.
She was where up the end of Manaia or somewhere. Or somewhere in Manaia it was. I
Yeah,
didn't
there was
see.
one there, and then a Paku Lodge. There was one
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, over on.
And the last year, our campground was sold, so we went. That was 1990 or 1991, and we went to Paku Lodge, and they had camping there. So the girls
Came
camped,
with us.
and camped in tents out the back.
That must have been 91 or 2 because my husband died in 1990. That's why we never came that year. And the following year, was it the following year? I think it might have been 91. Yeah.
So during Christmas, what was the population in Tairua then?
Huge.
We came afterwards because we didn't like it when it was really crowded, so we were about 2 weeks later. But it was really busy.
When the children
really,
were
really
small,
busy.
when we first started coming, we always came on Boxing Day because the kids had had Christmas with their fathers, so one meal with them, wouldn't they? And then we'd go, but yeah, later on, when we only had half the kids with us, yeah, we came later, didn't we? Yeah.
Oh, they always had a fete, and they had running races and egg and spoon and wheelbarrow races. There was no PC stuff in those days, so we could do all that thing.
Yeah.
And Little Miss Tairua, was it? And Little Mr. Tairua?
Yes, something like that. Yeah, they always had those at the campgrounds, didn't they? I remember when I was a child going to campgrounds with my parents, and there was always these. I used to make lots of money because I could run fast. Yeah.
No, the kids always entered, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Sang competitions and.
So do you remember what shops were in town then and where they were?
There was a Foursquare.
There was a Foursquare. There was 2 Foursquares in town at the time, one at each end.
There's a gift shop.
A small gift shop. I can't remember what it was called.
And there was
The bank used to come.
Oh, the bank.
One of the banks, I think Westpac or one of, I'm not sure which one, used to come for half a day on a Wednesday or something. And that was, yeah.
And there was no ATM machine.
No.
So we had to use cash.
Yeah.
Basically all cash.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I used to bring the fridge down because we didn't have to buy food down here, which
It's expensive.
was too expensive, yeah. Yeah.
But we could buy fresh fish. We used to catch it at the wharf and we
Yeah.
could just go down and
Yeah,
buy
you
it.
could. Yeah,
It came in about 5 o'clock, didn't it, at night, and you could just walk down.
and they were always having fishing competitions, and then they would sell the fish afterwards.
Oh, and also they caught the big game fish and they used to
Yeah.
put them up on the hooks.
So there were commercial fishermen in town then?
Yes.
Yes, there were in those
Yes,
days.
there were.
So you could buy your fish off them off the boat?
Yep.
Yes, yeah. We'd just go down, the boats came in, they always came in about 5 o'clock.
Same time. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd just go down there and if we wanted
So there were
fresh fish.
several boats?
Yeah.
Yep. Because they used to well, they still. There's not so many boats in the harbour now, is there? You used to be a lot. Going from the wharf round.
Well, there was
to,
no marina, so...
No, but and the wharf was our wharf. Only went straight out. It didn't have the extra piece added on. What else can you think of?
But the ferry was there, so we used to...
Yeah, the
we could-
ferry was there. It was easy to
So
get
that was
by.
1 day trip as well, to go over in the ferry and...
When they had their market day.
Yeah.
At Pavanui?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the kids just entertained themselves. Really, we didn't have to entertain them. One thing, we didn't allow any of our children to go to Ocean Beach on their own.
It was still dangerous in those days, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, 2 women can't watch 7 children at once. And it just goes down. It's just too... We would take them there after dinner at night sometimes and they'd when they were younger, and they'd play in the rock pools when the tide was out. And it was usually pretty warm, wasn't it? And they'd catch these little shrimps. And her son wanted her to gut it for him and have it for breakfast. A shrimp, you know, these tiny little...
And crabs, he used to pick up crabs.
I know.
And then one year he was selling them.
Yeah,
He did make some money, I couldn't believe it, people bought them.
Yeah. And
they were big crabs, they were like about this size.
Yeah.
Don't see them these days.
So what sort of fish were they catching, the kids? Do you remember?
Oh, down off the wharf.
Just little, probably piper, still in those days. Yeah.
Still there?
Yeah. Yeah. And sprats.
My son got a job at the bakery, icing pink buns. He came in one day. He came in one day and said, "Mum, I've got a job," and he was about maybe 12, 11 or 12, and I thought he was joking, but he wasn't joking. And he used to go up at 5 o'clock till about 9 o'clock, and all he did was ice pink buns. He thought it was wonderful. Got pocket money. These days we got child allowance for your children, and it used to come into the bank, didn't it? And from about August I never touched mine, and that was the money I spent at Christmas. But I haven't got a clue how much it was.
One year our husbands came down to see us, a surprise trip.
Yes.
Because Perrine's husband Brian was an engineer, and he knew some of the pilots. So a pilot in a small plane piloted them down. Yeah, they landed at Pawanui. Got the ferry over and turned up at our camp. We've got the shock of our lives.
Yeah, we did. You didn't have kids running up, "Can I have an ice cream? Can I have this? Can I have that?" They didn't. They were too busy playing, building sandcastles, fishing, swimming.
And the playground, there was a playground.
There was a playground.
It wasn't like it is now, but there still was
Not
a
as big, no.
Same location though?
Yeah, same
Yes,
location.
Same location, yeah. Used to walk along the beach a lot there. And nearly every house had at least 2 tents, sometimes 3. You know, so that, you know, the number of people was, because that's why we ran out of water all the time. There was no water.
Yeah, we always had water restrictions.
Always water restrictions. It was all tents and caravans on everybody's property.
Yeah, and lots of batches, not the big houses that you see today. It was quite different.
All these houses.
Ocean
built
Beach
as
Road.
batches, I think.
Yeah, Ocean Beach Road was all batches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even a lot of Manaia.
Yeah, see, in those days they could have 6 tents on their property. Today the houses are so big, they couldn't.
No.
And people don't like going there.
The only really big houses were the ones up here, actually. Yeah. And a lot of Pāku hadn't been built on either. And that was the other thing, we always walked up Pāku.
Not now. Not now. But, yeah, there was only maybe a dozen houses up Pāku.
Where the marina is now, was there anything there? What was there?
Nothing. No,
just mud, really.
Just nothing.
Sand.
Sand.
Sort of sand, but it was quite muddy sand.
Yes.
Was it?
Yeah.
But the hard sand that we've got out there now is still. It was hard then too. It was just exactly the same. You don't think ecologically it's changed much?
I don't think so.
No,
not really.
No, the estuaries basically stayed the same, except for the shellfish. You know, the amount of shellfish we could get.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, our families used to come down from Auckland and take a bucket full home. You know, they were just so plentiful. You hardly had to dig for them, do you? You just sort of scrape your hands and they were there.
And fishermen going out, recreational fishermen, they always came back lots of fish.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any limit on how many you caught in those days.
No, originally there wasn't. When I first moved here, there was.
Yeah.
because my family used to come down and they'd say, "Mum, we're going down to get pippies, we need you." They needed me to get another 50 or whatever it was, because I don't eat them.
And that was 10 years later that came in.
Yeah.
So that's how quickly the shellfish have depleted.
I don't think there's crayfish out there now, like around
Not
the
like
rocks
there used
and
to be.
things like there used to be. You don't hear.
What was the fish that the commercial guys were selling you at the wharf?
Snapper mainly.
Yeah, I think so. It was interesting because when they came
On Gurnet. We used to get Gurnet.
that's right. Yeah.
And it was a really good price.
And then
We used to hear a shout round the campgrounds, "Boats are in!" We'd go down get our fish.
Yeah.
And what was and from your memory, what was the best part for the kids? What do the kids recall of that time in Tairua?
I think playing games. My kids talk about playing games at night. All of my children and all of yours have all come back for holidays to Tairua, and they always remember it. Their trip, their time here really, really fondly. And I think just playing in the sand and swimming. And my boys were fishermen, so they always were up early in the morning and out fishing. And at night as well. So they remember the fishing. Stephen definitely remembers finding crabs and selling them, and shrimps.
Diane and I had the cabin, and there had 2 sets of bunks in it, and the girls slept. 2 of them must have topped and tailed, I can't remember now. But anyway, once they woke up in the morning, none of those kids came inside the cabin. Never. Not ever. Even when it rained, they just wanted to go out in the water or down the sand. I had a small camping table, just an aluminium one, fairly light. And we had it outside on the grass, and a basin of water, and the Kellogg's cornflakes, wasn't it? Or wheat bix or something, all their cereal and they'd help themselves. They'd sit on the grass and eat their breakfast. They washed the dishes rinsed it in the bowl of water, and then just left them on the table. By lunchtime they were dry. And they had sandwiches for lunch, wasn't it? Every day, virtually, sandwiches. And then at night, somebody in the camp would light the barbecue. And when it was ready and they'd cook theirs, they'd say, "Barbecue's here." So we'd just take our sausages and cook them there.
And our fish.
And fish, And so they never came in.
So you could say from those wonderful times is the reason that you're here now.
Yes.
Both of us.
Yeah, because...
I saw this picture of this view, and I said to her, "Gosh, that's a lovely view. I wonder if that's a house or a section." And Perrine said, "Oh, I think it might be a house." And this lady comes out called Debbie. She said, "I'll take you up and show you." And we said, "Oh, we're just on our way back to Auckland. Doesn't matter, it's a quiet day, get in the car." So we got in the car and Perrine said, "Where are we going?" And she said, "Up Tairua Heights." And Perrine said, "Oh, I'd never buy there." We came up to Tairua Heights and she bought the house.
So when you were here in the late 70s, was there a lot of Maori around?
None.
No, but we saw no Chinese, no other ethnicity, only white people in those days.
Yeah.
So were there any Tairuan characters out and about at that time that you thought of? I mean, you obviously...
Well, Joe was a...
Joe
at the campground.
And it's really nice how Tairua operates as a village now. It obviously operated as a village then too.
Oh, very much as a village.
Much so.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Oh, they used to have dances in the hall didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. And like the real old-fashioned dances, like
Waltz.
three-step holidays and waltz and and they had a band.
Which we could all do in those days. We all knew.
And you could take
at school.
if you wanted to go, you could take your children.
Yeah.
And everybody had brought a plate.
Well, people took their children everywhere.